Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. Let's cover a few things. Market had a very large recovery yesterday, mainly in the likes of the virtuals ecosystem. Looks like this was pumping like crazy just off the lows, just in a span of a couple days. But I think yesterday just really accelerated it, not only for virtual itself, but a lot of the agents underneath. But over 150% just in the last few days, maybe a week around there. Lots of stuff was ripping the last couple days here, which was good to see. We even had Bittensor from support and going from, sub $200 to about 360 right now. This video, I want to cover a few coins, a bunch of different stuff, showing you guys some dips on some really good projects, if any, and just coins that I'm watching at the moment. And obviously the two I just brought up, virtual has been a big bag of mine for a while, even though most of my buys were literally up here in this range. So I'm literally down. I'm down on virtual, but I'm just patiently waiting, watching, because usually when a recovery like this happens, this to me is a very good sign. Just because, yeah, maybe you missed the run for this. But usually what happens is when coins have a major push up, what happens is they will always pull back somewhere. This is what I've been waiting for a long time, though. Just in virtual itself. I waited for this kind of recovery all the way back here, back here, back here, all the way down here, thought it would happen there. Waiting for this dip to finally finish, momentum to finally flip bullish, and that is exactly what has happened. The virtuals ecosystem, guys, is the opposite of dead. I was actually shocked, at how much of that ecosystem was up so hard just in a span of a couple days. Even some of the agents I've brought, to light a long time ago, and just agents I've talked about from Vader to even simple ones, some of the majors like Luna, AIXBT. Most of the agents you guys are familiar with are, they had a big recovery. Like, yes, are they still down 60, 70, 80%? Yes. But a lot of them are up a minimum of 2 to 5x from the lows. So impressive work by Virtual. I won't get too in-depth with it. They do have some really interesting stuff going on with they call it the Virgin. I don't know if you want to call it the system. They got points going on right now. Definitely very interesting. And a lot of their launches have been kind of cooking just in the last few days also. And even a couple weeks before that. So we'll bring up some agents in a minute. But, Bitcoin too, obviously it's seen I love how the market is down like a couple percent across the board. Yeah, Bitcoin literally didn't even move. It's still basically in this like tiny little range. Still technically in a smaller time frame uptrend too. I assume this is going to break though. 100% chance this is going to break, potentially pull back into this area. I've been waiting for this for a few days now. Probably see a bounce and then into another push. If it's going to be continued bullishness, that's kind of what I'm expecting and waiting for and watching for right now. Ethan Sol, Sol did the same thing, kind of broke through, showing that potentially bullish momentum is now, here. It is now flipped bullish. Now it is going to have to pull back again. Doesn't matter how low it goes, because it has now created a brand new higher low, a higher high. Created a new uptrend coming out of this long-term downtrend over the last few months. So for this to continue now, because we had the highs here, the low, I guess if you want to consider this, but I'd probably just say this. Into the low, into the next lower high, into another lower low, continuing a downtrend, but now this is flipped. So technically price action, structure is looking bullish. So now as long as this level, I thought I had the wrong tool. As long as this level holds, and especially I would think that the support is going to hold again. As long as it holds above this and doesn't start looking and making some really bad moves to the downside. As long as it holds somewhat above this general area, this is going to keep going. I think it looks very bullish. But again, outside of the pullback that I do think it needs in the short term, potentially over the next few days, even a week, week and a half, and then until it decides to run bullish again. So that's what I'm watching for. Sui's strength has been very good lately as well. I want to pull up a couple subnets though, because as you guys know, subnets are, I think they're a very good place to be parking capital, and to be jumping into stuff on dips, I think is a great move. And we're starting to see some of the literal blue chip subnets, taking some pretty hard, I guess, moves down. They're on some nice dips, like Shoots, for example. This to me, I think, is something that, like, I don't know how low it's actually going to go. Another tip, too, if you guys use taostats.io, which is the website I use for this, every chart is automatically on log or logarithmic. It's just a different way to actually look at price. So put it on regular if you want to get an actual view what the chart would look like. So it is on a pretty good dip right now. From the highs, it's down about 30%. That's not horrible. I personally am waiting for a lot lower here. I think I want to see somewhere in the range of, if it can get back to 0.2, just touch this general area. Doesn't matter exactly where. It could go to 0.22, 0.23, even as low as 0.17. General area of price to just hit that low and then kind of go right onto that previous support. I don't know if that's going to happen, something like this. If it did that, bounced, chopped, came all the way back down to this general area, this is where I'd be probably loading up even more. Shoots, though, looks very promising. That is, it's already a top subnet. I think they're dropping their AI agent platform, I think tomorrow. So that actually might start spiking already. And gradients as well, another great one. Same thing. This was on a dip earlier. It's still on a dip, but same thing. I don't think this dumped enough for me to really want to, full out ape that. Let's look at the 4 hour. Oh yeah, this thing just went on a tear though. Just, all the way from mid-March to April. Huge run. Same thing. If this could come down maybe like 30-40% further from where it is, which again, if Bitcoin is going to dump, especially if Bittensor itself dumps because of Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised to see this, come down even further. So I think patience is going to play. It's going to play a really good, it'll pay off. Being a little bit more patient right now. Don't need to FOMO into anything in this market. I think FOMO is a huge killer regardless of what you're buying or selling. But subnets are looking good. I'd recommend, if anyone's even looking at subnets, I would put most of your allocation into some of the blue chips already, which, there are kind of, I don't want to say there's a lot of them, but there are a few really good ones out there, like 64, 8, 56. I love Celium as well. Like, just those 4 alone, I think, are very strong. There's a few lower caps, I guess, but I kind of covered that in another video. But same thing. It's a lot of this, especially with subnets, is going to come down to delivery of, what the team actually wants to do. What the team, if and when the team is going to deliver consistently every single day. Being transparent with their community. I think that's going to be a very huge thing. But yeah, outside of that, the market looks like it had a big pump. Things look to be pulling back. I just want to bring up some more coins. Because as you guys know, I'm a huge advocate of robotics. And if you're not familiar, I think decentralized physical AI or robotics within crypto is going to be a major narrative. And this coin right here, Aoki, has been one of my favorite within this narrative, if not one of the only ones I'm fully allocated in myself. I do hold this, and just being patient, letting this play out. I really like this coin. I think spatial intelligence, spatial awareness within the robotics field is going to be very important. And I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to that. Hence why I'm consistently talking about this coin for now, I think, I don't know, a month, maybe more than that. Very interesting. And what's really caught me though lately is the potential growth that this project has as far as revenue. They just landed a client, apparently, I'm not sure if it was a store or just, some sort of major client, to actually use one of their applications, which is Cactus XR. What it is like in a grocery store. For example, if you needed to find any sort of food or an item, obviously when you walk into a grocery store, especially if you've never been there or it's one you're not familiar with, at least for me, it's like it takes me 25 minutes just to find, 4 items that I need. But with this Cactus XR app, what it does is you use it and it will, depending on the, wherever the store is, and where these people in the store are placing all the food items on the shelves, the app you actually can use, you put it up, you have the screen, and you look through it, and it's basically will show you where any food item is that is on their list. And they'd input it into their platform beforehand, so then the computers and the system knows exactly where every item is. So you can use that app and it will literally direct you to every food that you need. And that's kind of one of the use cases for, I guess, their technology that they've been building. But they have a ton of revenue. Apparently it's going to be, again, it's not fully confirmed. I think it's confirmed they have the partner, but just looking ahead, their potential growth and revenue for like the year is going to be anywhere between like 8 to 10 million, which is, I think it's very good for a deep in project. That is incredible. And 99% of projects in crypto literally don't even make money. They make their money by just dumping their tokens, So it's very good to see that there are projects making real revenue. They have real utility being built, right? It's a shocker. I know. But that is Elky. I'm insane. Excuse me. I'm just insanely bullish on this coin overall. Just long term, I think this has a crazy amount of growth to go. We're starting to see, like I said, virtual. We'll bring up a couple agents here. And then I also want to bring up another one that I've been watching for a while too. But Vader AI is another one. This one, and something too, I actually tweeted this today, guys. With Vader AI, or not Vader, but just in general, virtual's agents, when they run and pump, they pump like crazy. You can see by these charts. But then when they dump, look at what happens. They will dump just as fast as they went up. It's this ecosystem, I don't know, it's just how it operates. It is like crypto on steroids. It is literally like microcaps on steroids with how quick these can go up or down. But like for example, like even just today alone, Vader is now down 16%, 20, 30%, if not more, just in the last day and a half. But same thing, within a week, this thing did almost a 4x, maybe a 5x from the bottom. That's weeks ago, but just to give you guys context of what's going on. But Vader is still a fairly strong AI agent, continuously building, continuously doing a lot of stuff. AIXBT, of course, if you guys are familiar, this is one that's, I think this is just a massive discount on one of the true real AI agents that came out of virtuals that is, like actually a good agent that does something very well, very legit, just being basically an AI KOL. Super interesting one. I'm pretty sure almost everyone, if you have a Twitter account and you've been on crypto Twitter, you're probably familiar with AIXBT by now. But wild. Look at that liquidity. That's tiny. This is just the aerodrome pool, but let's see what their other pool has. Yeah, my fault. I don't know why my throat is like bugging right now. Um, I'm trying to think too, because these are some of the main agents that I've been watching right now. There are a ton of micro caps, low cap stuff, but at the current moment, I'll probably make another video at some point because the thing with it again is these pumped like crazy. I do not want people top blasting into random coins, especially when these could pull back down again before they decide to really run. But these are just some of the couple agents I've brought up in the past that I think just have really good utility and continuously grind, continuously are working. But what was the last thing too? Another one, very interesting project, guys. Ray. Unit 00. This is something I have shared also in our Discord. Ray is going to be a coin if it can drop very far. I want to be getting into this. And I'm not going to get into what Ray is. I will probably have a deep dive at some point. Ray's a powerhouse project as well on base. And this strength too was just nuts. I did not expect this to actually recover like it did. Ray is very cool though. I mean, just to give you guys a little bit. A collective of AI and crypto natives dedicated to reimagining how we approach the AI blockchain space. They just focus on building a lot of different things, regardless of sentiment, regardless of anything. They are pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries within AI crypto, and it's really interesting to see what they continue to build. They're just constantly innovating, consistently building new things. Very interesting stuff going on with Ray. Tokenomics I think are very fair. I don't know if this is correct. I don't think it's fully diluted. I think it's in between like anywhere from 80 to 90 something percent diluted. I could be wrong though. But overall I think it looks very good. But that is one. This is not a virtuals based play, but it is like an AI infra / agent play as well. Just a few coins I've been watching and focusing on lately. Yeah, and that's Solana coins have been going nuts. I think we just saw. Where was House Coin? House Coin just flew the last week or so. I think we saw a couple tweets from some big people on Twitter, like Ansem, just instantly God candled the coin. Yeah, Fart Coin is now still holding over 1 billion, which I'm shocked. This is actually exactly what I thought. Again, I always draw these massive lines up. A couple people have actually critiqued me about that because like almost every analysis, that's what I try to draw. I just draw what I want to see. If alt season takes off, alts take off, these are the drawings I would expect. It's like me basically showing any sort of pullback, and then imagine alts just rip, have something run like that. It's just fun to draw. I'm not gonna draw this where it just goes to zero, right? Like who would want to see that? I don't think anything's just gonna go to zero like that. So same thing. Like I actually still think Fartcoin probably needs a nice pullback before it decides to run back up into another push up. Excuse me. But outside of that, guys, that is what I wanted to cover in this video. Like I said, across the board with different narratives, different ecosystems, lots of good stuff. Like I said, we've seen even some good subnets, very good subnets on deep pullbacks. Virtuals agents kind of waiting on more pullbacks for those. And that's kind of what I've still been paying attention to. So outside of that, I appreciate it, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.